Welcome to Studio 23 Nashville with your host, Jennifer Herron and Ed Solomon. Today's very special guest, the Beatles.
Well, hello and welcome to Studio 23 Nashville. I'm Jennifer Herron. We have an amazing, highly awarded group with us that pays tribute to one of the most iconic bands of all time. But first, I gotta let you know who's with me today. Stepping in for Brian Cumming is Ed Solomon here. He is a member of the Country Radio Hall of Fame and a former business partner of Dick Clark's. They ran a group of radio networks together. So pretty impressive to have you sitting here with us.
Glad to be here and talk about my favorite groups.
Yeah, you were one of the original fans. You were there when they formed over a decade ago, right?
The Mexicali Grill.
That's where it all happened.
A Mexican restaurant. And when I first met most of these guys, I didn't know them as Brian and Dennis and Nathan and David. This guy I knew as Gringo Starr. Now tell me about that.
Yeah. Well, it was we were in the middle of a set one day, and Jim, who was previously with us, he introduced the band, and he said Juan, Jorge, and Pablo, and then he looked at me and he said, and Gringo. And I was so insulted. I just about threw a stick at the man. The reason for that, he did it on purpose because he knew that I'm Cuban born. So it's like, I'm not a gringo. I'm supposed to be calling you a gringo. But it was beautiful, and there were many moments like that we experienced.
Well, you know, this is what happens in a town like Music City, USA, where it's renowned for having some of the best musicians in the world making their home right here. And when four of them get together and focus on the music of the greatest band of all times, the Beatles, you got meet the Beatles.
Emphasis on wanna.
Yeah, how did that name come about, though? It wasn't originally the Beatles, was it?
The genius of Dennis.
Well, we thought about many names. The frozen fish sticks sounded good for a while. But then we were playing at that same Mexican restaurant. We didn't have a name at the time. And we put it out as a contest. We said, send us some suggestion for names. And a local actress here in Nashville, she came up with the Beatles. And she's been looking for a commission ever since. And you're not going to get it.
Now, I mentioned that Ed is one of the longest standing fans. I mean, he should be the president of the fan club for the Beatles. But Ed's love for these guys goes back even further.
Well,
with Dennis, right?
I knew Dennis a long time ago. I was in New York programming a country radio station, WHN, and Dennis was working with a group of, let me say, sketchier musicians who did a country album, Sesame Street Country. And I remember going to see him at the Sesame Street studios and bringing artists in like Glenn Campbell and Tanya Tucker. And Dennis had the uncanny ability to take artists of that caliber and get these folks to not only interact with people like these guys, but also even sing with the Muppets and make some great records along the way. So this is how I think of Dennis. But I just found out from Jennifer that he was around making records even before then.
Oh my gosh. See if you can pick poor Dennis out from this shot.
I can.
Dennis, how old were you in this?
Probably about 8 or 9.
Okay, so in case you can't see which one Dennis is, that's him right there. You look like Alfalfa. I'm sorry, you do. Look at that sprout on the back of his head. You are so cute. I love it. So was this kind of like the Mouseketeers? It's a small world, this recording?
It was like any other musician situation. They got a group of kids together, underpaid them, and got them to sing.
So your career started very early. Yeah.
Yes. Even earlier.
Really?
I told my folks I wanted to be on television. They picked me up and put me on top of the television, thinking that would be the end of it, but it wasn't.
Poor guy. He was corrupted from a young age.
But what's great about these guys is each of them are so credentialed in their own ways and have just amazing pedigrees. And that's why they're able to do such amazing things that they do. You realize that they're able to do something that the Beatles themselves weren't able to do, and that's cats recreate their Beatles later music on stage. I don't know how you guys are able to do it other than all of your great
It's
talent.
sitting right here.
Okay, so we're giving all the credit to Nathan
He's
Burbank here.
not going to say it. He's not going to say, so I'm going to say it because he's my proudest moment in this group. Because I'm the one who fought for him to be in this group. This guy is he's like an octopus. He splits up the keyboard and gets all these layers of sound, which is what the Beatles did. And it's unbelievable. I watch him sometimes from the drums, and he's playing one part here, he's playing another part there, and sometimes he'll be tackling the bass. And so, depending on the song, that's how we can pull it off. Of course, Brian is a multi-instrumentalist. Like, for example, when we do Lady Madonna, or songs like Penny Lane, we don't have a piccolo trumpet, but we have Brian who can play those notes in that same register, way up there, on the soprano saxophone. Wow. So those are some of the little things we're blessed to be able to do with these two guys.
Nathan, can you hold your hands up? How many fingers do you have?
It's really the marvel of modern technology with keyboards where you can split things up and you can layer them. And so Live and Let Die, I've got the bass clunking down here but then I put my thumb down and it brings in a tuba, and
And then the piccolo part.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Masterminds. I don't know if anybody can see, but right over our shoulder, we were talking about credentials. Is that not a Grammy back over there?
Yeah. Oh, it's
Just happens to be.
I have never held one. Oh, that's amazing.
hold it from the bottom. Here we're
Can I put my fingerprints on it?
There it is. Are
And
we
by the
allowed
way,
to show
It
this?
weighs a ton.
Yeah, and you can get them
heavy.
at Walmart.
It's not the plastic kind. This is heavy. Okay, National Academy of Recording Artists and Sciences, awarded to Dennis Scott. Producer, Best Musical Album for Children, 2005. Songs from the Neighborhood.
Oh, wait a minute.
The
I'm gonna
music
get
of
something.
Mr. Rogers. Okay, he's getting something to show us about this award, but
And
this is amazing.
that's one of two that he has. Do you remember what the other one was on?
The Sesame Street.
The Sesame
Street album.
Right,
Yep.
right.
And so after he got those two
Do I have to give it
Grammys,
back?
he knew what
Oh,
was
I don't
involved
give it
in
back.
getting a Grammy, and then he thought up a way for the Wanna Beatles to at least
Well,
aspire
speak
to
of that, this is our little Grammy effort.
Oh gosh, the Fab Band Memories, the Beatles Bond, Best Spoken Word Album.
And we,
Now,
and we even
54th
know
Grammy
somebody who's on
Awards.
that.
Well, I feel a little kinship with this because it is a spoken word album, and one of the people on the album who speaks words is me.
That's
telling
right.
telling some of my Beatles stories.
All right.
Now, isn't your picture on the cover of the album too?
My picture is on the cover of the album as well. So my first professional picture that I had taken when I started in radio in 1970 is on the cover of that album. Last year the Beatles were together.
And I've done a little bit of research on this. I won't say it unequivocally, but I think that we may be the only tribute band ever to be nominated for a Grammy award. Double check me on that, but I think we may be.
Wait a minute, I just checked. You're right.
You're right.
Absolutely amazing. Brian, I know you've got some stiff credentials too. Lots of awards.
Go ahead.
to take.
Well, about the time Ed was getting his start in radio, I was playing saxophone in the Army for a few months, and then I got out and joined a band down in Atlanta. Made my way to California ultimately and joined this band called Billy Vera and the Beaters. Great
One of
R&B.
my favorite songs at this moment by Billy Vera and the Beaters, and this man, Brian Cummings, prominently mentioned on the album, a prominent player on that big hit record, and a session guy for so many other artists out in LA, one of those famous LA session guys that gets to be a part of so many hit records. Who are some of the big stars you worked with?
Well, these were just very minor encounters, but I did get to play a little bit with Al Jarreau, with Anne Murray, with the Ohio Players. I didn't get to meet them. I was on the record. I was hired to come in and play. It was really a cool experience.
Brian, these are people who could have anybody they wanted on those records playing those parts, and they picked Brian Cummings. So the cat
It's a
is
sign
good.
of a career in tailspin.
Now I'm wondering, why did you not mention Martin Mull or Shana Na? Because I was impressed by
those were
two.
real gigs. Yeah, those were not. Yeah, that was. I spent some time with Martin Mull and his fabulous furniture, which was a really fun thing. Martin was really, like Dennis, as much a comedian as he was a musician, and obviously a talented actor too. And Sha-Na-Na, really a lot of comedy in that, and a lot of great music, and a lot of theatrics.
Tell them who you met when
Who you
were
met? That's
with
the one I was
Martin.
thinking about.
Oh, yes.
You have to share that.
Martin Mull is a kind of a fearless guy. He really aimed for the big. And when we were recording his album in New York, it was the record plant, which had 2 different studios. And in the other studio, Martin Mull was in one. John Lennon was recording his solo album in the other. And Martin said, "Hey, let's go meet John Lennon." And he just got on the elevator, went up there, and I mean, John Lennon was aware of Martin Mull at the time, and he wasn't a huge, celebrity in the 70s like he was in the 60s. So it was okay to go in. It wasn't a big event. But Martin just took me in there, and I was able to stand next to Martin and say, "How do you do, Mr. Lennon?"
Oh my
Or
goodness.
something that was as harmless as I could make it.
So just kind of a hello, greeting, shaking hands?
Yeah,
No
yeah.
more conversation? Oh.
Yeah,
That's
I-
more
No
than we
photo?
got.
yeah,
It's more than we got.
Oh, no, you're right. This is before cell phones.
Right, exactly. When we had a camera on us at all times. What a
Although when
memory.
we did the Huckabee show, because we went up to New
Oh,
York.
that's right.
You
You
did
went
take
to the
me.
record plant.
He
We
was
went
so
to-
happy to take me up to the record
yeah,
plant and
yeah.
show me, and we got to meet some. Who was there?
Not Snoop Dogg, some major.
Diddy? Was it Diddy?
Yeah,
What-
Puff Daddy, yeah.
But yeah, they were there. They were recording. And I'm thinking like, here I am with Brian Cumming. He's showing me the record plant.
Oh, that was.
It was awesome. It was awesome.
Absolutely amazing. I've been enjoying these stories. They're absolutely amazing. But we have to hear about this music we've been bragging on, right, Ed?
Well, if they wanted to be like the Beatles, the one thing the Beatles did was write their own songs. And these guys followed suit to do that. One of my favorites is one that Dennis wrote. It's called in 1963.
In 63. It was a good year. We, how did that come about? We were doing a gig in Virginia Beach, actually playing with the Symphonicity, which is Virginia Beach Orchestra. And they were having their 50th anniversary in
The
that
town
year.
of Virginia Beach.
That's
was
right.
founded in '63.
63, correct.
So they asked, could we do something special? So I said, well, we can try. And we came up with a song which was very nostalgic, and now we use it at the beginnings of some of our shows. Would you like to hear it?
Yes.
Well, okay.
Well, okay.
Come on.
Let's go.
In 63. In 63. The times they were changing in ways we couldn't even explain. In 63. Our world had lost a leader and we could only live through the pain. Only 35 cents for a gallon of gas. The cars we drove were really built to last. A simpler time and kinder place to be. In 63. In 63. In 63, we sat and laughed at Lucy and Lassie, really captured our hearts. In 63, we played out in the sunshine and stayed outside until it was dark. We put a man in a can, launched him out into space, while the world still moved to a slower pace. And freedom never, ever felt so free. In 63. My little town in America, we were changing day by day. My little town in America, we were really on our way. We were coming into our own. Now look and see how we've grown in 63. In 63. In 63. In 63, you and me, feeling free, 63, 1963, you and me, 63, whoa, in 63.
Hickman County, Tennessee. It feels a lot like home, or how home should feel. Come by, sit a spell. Soak in the goodness that inspired Minnie Pearl to write about this special place. Visit Hickman County, Tennessee's hidden treasure. Do you want to win friends and influence people? Don't buy a book. Advertise on Studio 23 Nashville. It's easy. Just contact us at studio23nashville@gmail.com.
Welcome back to Studio 23 Nashville. And I think Ed Solomon, our guest co-host here, said it best. The music they write fits perfectly with the tribute music that was the Beatles music, right?
These guys
The sound.
have the ability to write and perform original music in a style very much like the Beatles, so that when you see a Wanna Beatles show and they do an original song in the show, half the people are saying, well, what album's that on? I don't remember that. But it is so good and so in the Beatles ballpark that it sounds like it could have been a Beatles cut.
That is very much a compliment, guys. Very much.
very good.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
very impressive.
We were
What
trying
a great
to do.
talent.
Yeah.
Well, one thing we did, the Beatles, two of the Beatles anyway, wrote songs about their hometown. Paul wrote the song Penny Lane,
Yep.
and John wrote the song Strawberry Fields Forever, which is about that orphanage.
And I've been there, and I understand why he wrote that song. When I saw that place, I got it. It's this beautiful place. I'm sorry.
And David and I have both written songs about our hometowns. Come to Key West.
Come to Key West.
And I wrote the song Bristol Lights. It actually was inspired because Bristol was celebrating, I think it was its 200th anniversary. And they put out the word, and my parents let me know about it. Hey Nate, they want a song for the 200th anniversary, and they're having a competition. So I wrote this song and entered the competition, and I didn't win. It's sort of like our destiny not to win.
You're saying we got the leftovers?
Yes,
Yeah,
we had the
yeah.
leftover.
But anyway, it helped me to get in touch with my inner feelings. I think people who've grown up in small towns lots of times have a real deep sense of pride about it. In fact, there was something that happened when I moved to Nashville that made me so proud of my hometown. I was watching Good Day America, and they were talking about, Good Morning
Good
America.
morning,
Morning,
America.
America.
ABC.
And they were talking about the best swimming holes in the country. And number 4 or 5 or 3 or one of those high numbers was the swimming hole in my hometown of Bristol, Vermont.
Wow.
Yes, my
So
Becky.
anyway,
Yeah.
so that's what inspired the writing of Bristol, Vermont.
Well, we're talking about the sound and how he says your writing fits perfectly with the sound of the Beatles' original music. What drew you into this group, though, Ed? Because he told me he was there from day one at the restaurant, Mexicali restaurant, and he said, I followed them all the way. I am a true fan. What
He's
is-
a very lonely man.
Well, first of all, because I knew Dennis and I wanted to see what he was up to. But then when I saw the Wanna Beatles, it all made sense to me. It was the level of the musicianship, frankly, that I really appreciated, and to be able to enjoy that level of musicianship, those great songs, in an atmosphere where you can just sit down and eat a taco or a burrito, and it's casual, and the kids are dancing on the tables, and the adults, everybody has a smile on their face. This was really neat. And I've seen that replicated time after time after time in other situations where they've played large community gatherings and state fair type situations where they have to please an audience that go from toddlers to the toddlers' grandparents or great-grandparents. And this combination of the hit music and the musicianship and sounding to people just like the record. Now, these guys don't look like the Beatles, but if you close your eyes, they sure sound like them.
I almost hate to call you a tribute band, though. Would that be considered an insult, a tribute band? Because you do have your original music and you do have your identities and you bring a new life to that Beatles music, I feel.
And once you see the group on stage, you just get a different experience than just performing songs. There's really an energy, and I mean, really, in addition to the Beatles, one of the biggest influences on Dennis was Jerry Lewis.
Oh.
Okay, not Jerry Lee Lewis.
No,
You're
right,
talking
no.
Jerry Lewis.
Well,
Okay.
the showmanship and the professionalism of Jerry Lewis,
Yeah.
which was absolutely amazing. Yes, that's what he's talking about when we're talking about Dennis. It's that kind of perfectionism that takes it to
Well,
a
we
different
all have
level.
lots of influences. I have so many that I could have a split personality. But we use our various skills and talents and throw them into the three-ring circus that is the Wanna Beatles. And mine happens to be some impressions that I do, and these guys are nice enough to tolerate me.
Impressions during Beatles songs.
Oh, yeah.
You got to hear
Seriously.
that.
Oh, this is
yeah.
great. So,
Oh, yeah.
what kind of
Okay.
impression would you do during
Oh,
what
don't
kind
get
of
him
song?
started.
Give me an
Don't
idea.
get him
Give me an idea.
Okay,
I want to
Jimmy
see something.
Stewart.
Okay.
Hey, Jude! don't make it bad.
Willie Nelson.
Oh gosh, I got to see this. Okay.
Willie Nelson.
Take a sad song, make it better.
And my all-time favorite is what's her name?
Carol Channing.
Carol
Oh,
Channing.
no.
Remember to let her into your heart.
And you know, I've
Richard
been listening
Nixon.
to this for
Yeah,
10 years,
yeah,
and I
it's so-
still crack up on stage when he goes into that.
But in addition to the musical talent, the guys in the group refer to you as the Brian Epstein of the Wanna Beatles. And that's because you're pretty good at doing the business part, too.
Yes.
It was tough getting you on that album too.
Yes, I was here, I think, before you hung up the phone.
Well, it looks like you're doing good business. How many square feet in the studio? Breaking in the dough, guys.
Well, it's not paid for yet. So.
The bills.
No, it's sort of an invisible talent unless you really know what's going on. I mean, the fact that we have a name, that we have a T-shirt, that was years ago, but it's all the little steps that Dennis saw to take. The Grammy nomination. I mean, on and on and on. The reason we're here and have a story to tell.
And the fact that nobody else wants the job.
There you have it.
That's so true. It's a tough job. It really is. It's a tough job.
It's a labor of love, and may God strike me dead if. I got that from Don Rickles.
Another impersonation. Well, we had mentioned the songs, and you mentioned Bristol, the one you wrote about your hometown. Would y'all play it for us?
Sure.
Doesn't matter much to me if the world will ever recognize the things that I hold dear, or my place in history. 'Cause I've learned what matters most of all is what matters most to me. And when you find it, that's where you want to be. Those Bristol lights are shining bright at the foot of Hogback Mountain, and there's a band playing Sousa from the bandstand on the green. It's Wednesday night and all is right in the hearts of true believers. Bristol lights can still ignite the way back home. fair game. That's where culture's more refined, and where everyone knows what to do, but no one knows your name. And so you drift back to thoughts of home again. Those Bristol lights shining bright at the foot of Hogback Mountain, and there's a band playing Sousa from the bandstand on the green. It's Wednesday night and all is right in the hearts of true believers. 'Cause Bristol lights can still ignite the way back home. It's Wednesday night and all is bright in the hearts of true believers. 'Cause Bristol lights can still ignite the way back home. Straighten up and flat right.
Now available, Come Out Swingin', the new CD by the Brian Cumming Jazz Quartet. Come Out Swingin' is available at Studio23Nashville.com and all major digital retailers.
Sing, come out swinging.
Come Out Swingin' by the Brian Cumming Jazz Quartet. Get yours today.
I'm here with David, and we are here with the Cajun Cajon. David, tell us about this thing.
Well, my good friend Trenell Parfait, okay? He has been making these drums. He's just started making them, and they're fantastic, ladies and gentlemen. I have played many drums and many cajonas in my life, and this is by far the best I've ever touched or ever been associated with. His model, the XL1, is incredible. You're going to hear it all through this episode, but I want you to know who made it. I want you to know where you can reach this man if you're interested in the Cajun Cajon. His name is, as I said, Trenell Parfait. You can reach him at the following phone number, 985-709-9133. And if you want to hear it even more than you do in this episode, you can find his cajon under Cajun, C-A-J-U-N, Cajon, C-A-J-O-N, on SoundCloud. So you can check him out on SoundCloud.com. Cajun Cajon. Thank you, Parfait. Thank you, Mr. Trenell Parfait. We love your drum.
Welcome back to Studio 23. I'm with Jennifer Herron, and we're meeting the Wanna Beatles.
Hey, we're meeting the Wanna Beatles. Let's go back to my first meeting with these guys. I was working at a TV station in Nashville, Tennessee, and they sent me out to interview this group about a great song they had written called Oh Betty, with a whole campaign, right, surrounded by it?
Yes.
Fill some folks in on this. Oh, Betty.
Shouldn't we go back to let people know why Betty came into our lives?
Oh yeah, it's a long story. Make yourselves comfortable.
Betty White, we're talking about.
But that is part of the Grammy story. We were talking about Dennis having won Grammys. Okay, Dennis got an idea for a way for us to make an album that would be nominated for a Grammy, but not in competition with a lot of other music albums. So he thought, let's do a spoken word album. Ed has mentioned it. Ed is on the album. And so, as Dennis got the plans underway, he thought, you know, it might really help if we, as a Beatles tribute band, could connect with somebody who is connected to the Beatles. And he came upon the idea of George Harrison's sister, Louise Harrison, who is still alive and still promoting the Beatles. And so Dennis contacted Louise. Is this right? You tell me the story. And he got a hold of her and got her involved in the process. She was going to co-host our album. And then there was a little bit of an internet announcement about Louise being involved with us that was worded in such a way that affected Louise in a negative way because it did not mention the band that she was affiliated with. Is this right
The
so
Liverpool
far?
Legends, yes.
Yeah, there's a band that she works with called the Liverpool Legends, who are an excellent Beatles tribute band. And so the little press release that was about Louise and the Wanna Beatles did not portray her relationship to the Liverpool Legends the way she had hoped it would. And so the next thing we knew was a phone message that Dennis received
Gonna
right
talk
here in his home. And Dennis can tell you what that was like and how he felt. And what he did about it. We overcame it, but the
With
phone
lots of
message
grace.
is a classic piece of Wanna Beatles history. What happened?
Well, I was so thrilled to talk to Louise Harrison. This is the closest I'd ever gotten to a Beatle. I said, this is it. This is my moment. And because of little snafu, completely unintentional, I got a message from Louise on my voicemail saying, Dennis, this is Louise Harrison. You are a scoundrel and a thief. I'm going to see to it that you are sufficiently litigated against.
Words to that effect, yeah.
And I was crestfallen. But the good news is we kissed and made up, and she was actually very happy to be on the album, and she participated, and we got her group involved as well, so it had a happy ending.
And her
Oh,
voice,
definitely.
her voice was magic.
But the story doesn't end there. What
does
happened
not.
next, Nathan?
So we got nominated for a Grammy.
Yes.
And we went to LA. We walked the red carpet with Steve Martin, no less.
Yes.
And Louise Harrison.
Yeah.
And but when they went to announce the winner, it was not us, it was Betty White. Betty White had a spoken word album that year, and her album won.
So
Then we came home
After we stopped crying,
Oh.
after we stopped crying,
yeah.
we took we came out from the jaws of defeat or something,
Yes.
and snatched a little victory, you know, because Dennis came up with this idea to I mean really honor her. She's incredible.
Yeah.
And she's been around for so long, and she's brought so much joy to so many people. Why not honor her and do something? So
We wrote the Betty White song. And she's heard it, and she loves it. I think you have a picture
Yes,
of it. there.
autographed picture from Betty and her dog. Yeah.
So, and now it's
there's a
part
video.
Yes. Yes.
There's a video that it's on YouTube, the Betty White song by the Wanna Beatles, and it's kind of cute, I think. Just don't look at me dancing because I'm horrible. But these guys were great.
It's a big show.
It is.
We
It's really
pretended
cool.
to be a 50s doo-wop group. Dennis
Yeah,
got us
yeah.
some
Plaid
plaid
jackets.
jackets to dance
With the
in
black
a
rimmed
choreograph.
glasses.
What was the campaign though? Were y'all looking for people that looked like Betty? What was the thing? Or
because
you wanted
Betty
Betty?
White was
Yeah.
not available to be in the
That's
video,
right, Betty
so
White
we
did
wanted
not do
a
it.
Betty White look-alike. We
Okay.
had another
We got a
contest,
Betty White look-alike.
and we found one.
Yeah, she was great.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we've become friends.
Yes.
Oh, how nice.
Yes.
Yeah, no-
And it turned out, you know, we filmed it at, what was the theater again?
Palace Theater.
Yeah, the
in
Palace
Gallatin.
Theater in Gallatin, right. It was beautiful. It was so much fun.
I just a great camera crew and a great director for it.
Yeah.
I won't mention any names.
Is this some of the guys standing on the other side of the room over there?
Yeah, look at over
got,
there.
got that camera over there?
That's John Lennon.
bragging on some of the videos and songs from that particular album.
It was really great, the Betty White video, and that whole saga of how you put that thing together, as you say, making lemons out of lemonade out of the lemons.
Yes.
But the other one, of course, and the one that really touched a lot of people was the song that you guys wrote about wanting to meet Paul McCartney, which was also something that happened as a result of this Grammy nomination. You guys thought you might have a real good chance.
And we did. He wasn't too far.
He wasn't far at all.
No.
We came this close to meeting him.
Yep.
But we thought if we wrote this song called We Want to Meet Paul, and it got out there into the world, maybe he would hear it and he said, "Oh, those are nice lads. I think I should talk to them."
Yep.
But we had a great time making that video
We
too.
did.
Oh, it's so much
It was
fun.
in black and white, and
So
we
much fun.
you hired an English car to be in the video.
Yes.
That's great.
And we just did all these fun things that the Beatles would have done in
Yes.
Hard Day's Night. It had that kind of wacky style.
Yep.
And it was really fun.
Were y'all in the same building with him during the Grammys? Were you backstage?
were actually,
Were you
yeah.
this
Very close. I'd say about
Yeah.
maybe about 200, no more than 200 or 300 feet from him.
We were breathing the
so
same
close.
air.
We were
So you could
breathing
see
the same air.
him. You could see
Oh,
him.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
the reality of it is, and I don't want to put a negative spin on it, but it's his security is so, I mean, understandably.
Yeah.
After what happened to
Right.
John Lennon, his security was so rigid that not even the stars that, the other stars, they really couldn't get too close. Yeah. I understand.
Oh my-
I don't hold that against him.
So now we're just going to wait for him to come to us.
There you go.
Well, you tried to make that happen, as I recall, when he was in Nashville.
Yes.
Paul McCartney came to Nashville to perform in a concert, and you guys had yet another idea about how to meet Paul McCartney.
We went to the rooftop of Rippy's where it was just across the street from where Paul was playing.
indeed.
We thought if he came out to the balcony, we could certainly wave to him and he'd wave back. And that would have been enough.
Yeah.
So, but instead we just had a good time. Like Brian said, we got dancers from Belmont University to come and boogie out in the streets, and we had a love bus come with a big picture of John Lennon on it.
It's great.
It was a happening.
It was beautiful.
Now, I had seen you perform at the rooftop of Rippy's another time, and it was very cold and inclement weather.
Yes. Tell the story, Brian.
Yeah,
Tell the
Brian.
story.
Well, that was another one of Dennis's ideas.
Oh
to,
yeah, you get the credit for
commemorate
that one.
a big piece of Beatles history. Wasn't it 1969, January 30th?
Correct.
The Beatles performed their last public appearance
Yep.
on the rooftop of the Apple Records building in London. And so around 2009, Dennis said, you know what? We could draw attention to that event. And at this point, it was 40 years after that concert. And we picked a rooftop, Rippy's at the time, downtown, 5th and Broadway, and set up a concert to play then.
And it was great.
And it was.
And they came.
And we
Did
played the
come.
music that the Beatles had played on that concert, like Get Back and
Absolutely.
I think all the and we videotaped it.
Yes.
And we had the mayor's office show up and declare a Nashville Beatles Day. Isn't
That's
that what
right, I
that
forgot
was?
about
That's correct.
It was
That's right.
amazing. Yeah. And
And
but
we
it
froze our butts off.
yeah. It was
Oh,
chilly.
I don't know. Yours seems to be there
It's still there. It's still there.
Oh, the things you poor guys have done for the love of the Beatles.
Oh my God.
Even the saga with Louise, you even paid tribute to her. Yeah.
Yes, yes,
Oh,
we
it
did.
all worked out. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's hear the song that we're again turning lemons into lemonade.
That's right.
Yeah.
You took the idea of the phone call that Dennis had gotten from Louise and the experience as a result of that, and sort of twisted it around a bit and made it into great music.
Yep.
Isn't it a wonder how two can fall apart? Miscommunication, signs of separation. But I'm reaching across that river with an open invitation. Louise, Louise, how I wish I could get to you. but so many little things get in the way. Tell me what's a boy to do? Oh, Louise, Louise, though my words may seem unclear, I'm down on my knees, hoping you hear me, Louise. Standing by your window, it's hard to see your heart. You might tell me never, but I would wait forever, if it means that there's a good chance that we might be together. Louise, Louise, how I wish I could get to you, but so many little things get in the way. Tell me what's a boy to do? Oh, Louise, Louise, though my words may seem unclear, I'm down on my knees, hoping you hear me, Louise. Louise, Louise, though my words may seem unclear, I'm down on my knees, hoping you hear me, Louise, Louise. Oh, maybe someday I'll get through, Louise, Louise.
Hey, welcome back to Studio 23 Nashville. I'm Jennifer Herron with Ed Solomon and the Beatles. And I said they've been together for a decade now, started here in Nashville. But you're not just Nashville based. Y'all filmed some pretty decent stages.
We get around.
Yeah.
We do some travel.
Where were we? A week ago, we were in Evansville at the Tropicana Hotel, which coincidentally closed a week later.
Okay, we won't talk about that one.
It was fun. It was
Close the
fun.
place
We
down.
killed the place down.
Kill it. No, we really have had a great variety geographically and culturally, I guess you could say. You know, Dennis has been responsible for getting us to New York to be on national television. That was really a high
Yeah,
point.
with Huckabee.
It was.
Yeah. Governor Huckabee.
We were on that show, and then we've been as far south as Key West.
Yes,
we
sir.
Played a series of concerts down in Miami. and-
With the Miami
South
the
Florida Symphony Orchestra.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And that was such an experience because those players came from all over the country, and they're very accomplished. And to hear your music, and the Beatles' music, and to hear
Yeah,
those
yeah.
and Nathan, fantastic arrangements that Nathan does. Oh my gosh, just to have that sound behind you, it's amazing. It's just so.
So
amazing.
your music, the way you can perform it, lends itself from everything to a private party
Yes, sir.
to performing in conjunction with a symphony orchestra.
Yes, sir. And we have the
Yeah.
scores. We're ready to go. And we've played with college, high school, and professional symphonies.
Yeah.
And we've done, as Dennis likes to say, we do everything. We'll do Brists.
There go the demographics on this show.
But a lot of Beatles music is very suitable for the orchestral backup. And when you hear the string parts on Yesterday or Something,
Something,
there's some beautiful parts that have already been on the record, you know, but rarely are they performed. And so it's really an opportunity to hear the real instruments instead of just a synthesizer.
And
emulating.
we've taken it a step further because Nathan has added orchestrations to Beatles songs that normally don't have an orchestra, but we wanted to give the members of the orchestra something to do, and turns out they love it, it's fun, and it really complements the Beatles music. in
Yeah,
a way
it works. It works. It works very well, actually. And they really enjoy it. When the orchestra participates more, it's a win for everybody. So
Now, I've seen you guys perform at places as different as Tennessee Performing Arts Center, TPAC, where you guys were in a palatial situation. I don't know how many of our viewers have ever been there, but that's like exactly as nice of a theater as you're going to find, and as beautiful a stage.
Yeah, Broadway shows are there, yeah.
I mean, very much like a Broadway theater, in fact. And then I remember you playing up at an outdoor shopping center north of town, and it was, I think, was it you needed heaters because it was cold outside.
Did they put you by the bait machines?
Oh, we have done so many.
Tell me about the challenges or the benefits of playing each of those kinds of venues, because I'll tell you, you guys sounded great and went over with the audiences as different as those places might have been.
It's not always as glamorous as you might think. We've played at state fairs where our dressing rooms were next to the sheep. And people say, "How was it doing that?" We say, "Not bad."
Where's the drummer?
But so there's that. And they tell them about the pole, the tractor.
Oh, well, here we are, we're playing at the Wilson County Fair, right? Which is, I didn't know this, because I'm not originally from these parts, but it's the biggest fair in Tennessee.
Yeah.
So here we are, okay, great, we're playing on concrete slab in the open, it's really nice. And we're playing, I don't know, Here Comes the Sun or something, and I hear this thing go, and you see this tremendous puff of smoke coming up, and I swear, I literally almost fell off my drum set and started running because I thought we were getting bombed or something. I had never been to a tractor pull. I never experienced they don't do tractor pulls in Miami.
Yeah,
right?
welcome to the South.
And oh my gosh, this thing. So here we are. I pull myself together. We finish it. But one of the fondest memories of that particular performance was Brian has this habit that as he warms up, I listen to him. I think he knows this by now, but whenever he warms up, I'm setting up, I'm minding my own business, but I'm listening to him. And when he gets on the guitar, he'll play all kinds of, every time, it's beautiful. All the stuff, and it's all his. He's just spewing music. It just comes out from this beautiful place. And he did this one little melodic line, one of the countless that he has done, and it just captured me. And I said, songs for you. It just came.
Oh, wow.
Songs for you, songs for you. Why am I, and it just songs for you. And then it became this songs for you. And we worked on it together.
Yeah, and we were already in the mood to write together as a kind of a Beatles flavored band. And I was thinking along the lines of do 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 and I Love Her.
And I Love Her.
It just that groove and that feel, and the Beatles had already demonstrated, here's how you can do a song like this.
Yeah,
and
with a Latin feel to it.
Yeah, but just kind of laid back and
Interesting.
romantic. And we will always associate it with the Wilson County Fair and the
and
noise
the
of the
tractor
tractor
pull.
pull.
Oh, a beautiful song inspired
By
the
a tractor pull. But something that I always say to the boys, because being that I come from a different culture originally, I share with them that the Beatles were listening to the world. Because when I hear some of their songs, I don't hear them as an American or English song. I hear the Latin influence in the background.
Yeah.
Like when you listen to I Feel Fine, what Ringo's doing on that drum set, there's a Latin groove to that. And a lot of their rhythms, they have that almost like the clave sound, the rhythm of the clave. And so when I listen to And I Love Her, I'm hearing it as a Latin, like a bolero or a beautiful love song in Spanish. It's just that they put it in English. And so I think this is probably what's influencing this song that you're going to hear.
And George Harrison happened to play the nylon string guitar on that record, and to help emphasize that really soft, romantic side, kind of Latin flavor.
Exactly.
It influenced me, but it's just I love how that song came together.
Well, I mean, do you know that the Beatles auditioned for George Martin? One of the songs they used was "Bésame Mucho." That's one of the classics in the Spanish canon.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't. I mean, that's a classic. And so those guys, they were listening to the whole world. They did the Indian sitar, they went to India, but they were checking everything out. Very open-minded people.
That's what made him so revolutionary, right? Yeah.
I think so. I think those
Revolutionized the world.
influence came and they merged.
Yeah.
And Brian always shares with me that we should not forget that the Beatles were listening to American music.
Oh, heavily.
They just spit it out with
Yeah.
their own influences.
Yeah.
And, you know, Liverpool was the biggest port, right? Or the second biggest port. And that's all that music was coming in. So,
Absolutely amazing.
beautiful.
I'm going to give that song a listen.
Yeah. Let's do it.
The song
I'm
is for
loving
you.
this.
This song's for you.
I'm loving it.
This song's for you, and only you could be my song every day. It's you to see me through and fill my life always, 'cause you can see into the better part inside of me. Can't you see? That's why, whoa, why the song's for you. This song's for you, with words in tune, to show the loving that flows from you. I know it's true, I've come to know what love is, and I in time have learned to give what's in the heart of me. Can't you see? That's why, whoa, why this song's for you. How could words reveal the feelings of the heart, both very real and yet so far apart? But when you hear my song, it's understood. Oh, with you, just loving you, I never knew I have a lifetime to live as two. It's me and you, where we belong, in a love song, 'cause you and only you could be the better part of me. Can't you see? That's why, whoa, why this song's for you. So tell me, how could words reveal the feelings of a heart, both very real and yet so far apart? But when you hear my song, it's understood. Oh, with you, just loving you, discovering you, I keep returning to see it's you, forever you, leads me on with a love song, 'cause you and only you could be the better part of me. So won't you please be with me? That's why, whoa, why this song's for you. Oh, why, whoa, why this song's for you.
What are you guys up to?
We're up to here. This is a special moment where we don't know what we've been up to.
That's right. That's right.
No. We're on the road, we're traveling, and we're playing closer to home in Nashville, Tennessee, and we have a website which lists all our concerts. And we go to that website because we don't know where we're playing. So we go, oh, look, here's where we're going to be.
That's right. Well,
So-
we're going to Florida next month. That'll be nice.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Tell them where we would find this website.
www.thewannabeatles.com. www.thewannabeatles.com.
And you have
So-
to have the word "the" in it, otherwise it takes you to a band in Norway.
Yes.
So-
With one page, it doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
So,
And Beatles has one T.
correct. One T. The Wanna Beatles. And we also have on that website, as he suggested, we have our tour schedule and our concert schedule.
If only we had a Facebook page.
Oh, we have a Thank you very much. Thank you for reminding me. We have a Facebook page. Please come and visit it and like us and say hello and share with us your thoughts. And people often tell us, hey, we'd like for you to come over to our town. And we try to go as far and wide as we are able to.
And what if people want to possess the music and have it that they can listen to whenever they so desire? Is there any way, perchance, that could happen?
The songs that we are performing on the show today are all from this album of original songs that we made called We're Still Rockin'.
That's right.
You need to hear that song.
Yeah.
That's the high energy song. You get to hear David, what would you call it? When you go, woo!
And we're whistling.
Whistling,
Oh,
yeah.
God.
It's a very high energy song. We had a message.
We
We're
didn't want
still
to die
rockin'.
today, so
Yeah.
we decided not to do it.
But anyway, we're proud of this record. It's
And it
really
does
got a lot
have
of
the Betty White song on it, too.
Yes.
And in 63's on it.
63, yeah.
Your
And
faces
songs
look
for
good.
you,
Yeah,
and
songs
Well,
for
Bristol
you.
Lights.
Bristol Lights, and then some. There's some other good stuff
some
in
really
there.
nice songs on there.
And you have
then-
another one.
The spoken word album that
Ooh,
earned us
yeah.
a nomination for a Grammy Award. And I believe, this could
That's
be
you,
Ed
Ed?
Sullivan in
Oh my
1970.
gosh, you're a
And,
baby there.
Definitely
Yeah.
a selling point for the album.
Look at
My
that.
picture
This is,
with every copy.
You look like Fabian there.
Phil
Okay,
Kagi.
yes, we have.
Janice
There's
Ian.
Dennis, right? Dennis Scott
There's
himself.
Dennis and Janice Ian.
And Janice Ian.
And
And a
they've
number
got
of other friends of ours.
Yeah, they've got a
that they
young
write.
me at the age of 12 inside on the disc. So yeah.
For the pictures
no
alone,
extra
you need
charge
that
for
one.
No extra
Yeah.
charge for that.
So anyway,
And this picture of me was taken at the WABC radio station offices. The famous DJ Cousin Brucey, had a contest called The Big Break. And people would send in their recordings, and they got voted on. And so there I am changing guitar strings, waiting to meet Cousin Brucey.
Wow.
Oh, what a
So
neat
I
story.
touch with
Absolutely.
faith.
You know, they keep bringing up pictures. Should I share this picture with them, Ed, that I have with me?
As long as they're not going to be haters.
Don't throw anything at us.
no,
He's
no
got something in his hand. Okay, so I've
be
heard
haters.
throughout our conversation this entire day, there's one person we need to meet. We were this close. This close.
But he's hard to get to because
Yeah.
he's surrounded by security. Not even the other artists could get at him in the Grammys.
But
Correct.
somebody in this room has, in fact, met Paul McCartney. That's Ed.
oh yeah.
I am going to tell you boys.
Let me see it.
Am I seeing green in the eyes?
Look at that.
Do I see a little jealousy here?
Oh man, that's awesome.
Uh-huh.
How did that
Gotta go
happen?
cozy.
How did that happen?
Best friends.
He got to meet Paul. Did you meet him?
him?
Did you meet him here in Nashville?
I met him in New York. We did an interview for a radio special, and as I often say, I've been blessed in my life to get paid to do things that you can't even pay to do. To sit down for hours with Paul McCartney while he tells you stories, you can't buy it. But I got to do it. But today I got to do it with the wanna Beatles.
Very
I love it.
Yeah,
And for a price, he may share some of those Paul McCartney stories with you.
That's right. That's right.
Or a peanut butter sandwich. one of
There you
them.
go. All right.
Well, Ed, it has been such a pleasure. I thank you so much. And he has shed so much light on their wonderful music. This group is amazing. They're just as wonderful as they seem on camera. Brian, I love you to pieces. They are so talented. The Wanna Beatles. Make sure you check them out. And we hope you'll join us again next week on Studio 23 Nashville.